So, life is the sum of the decisions we make. But which decisions? How am I supposed to know? Well, maybe a list will help. Some pros and some cons. List 1. Finding the courage to do something new, okay? Cons. Well, it could be a waste of time. Could embarrass myself. Could lose money. Could get criticized. Pros could be life-changing. Finding the courage to go somewhere new, okay? Cons, might not like where I go. Might not know how to get there. Might regret going. Pros, could end up being the best decision I've ever made. Finding the courage to change myself, okay? Cons, might not like who I become. Might try, fail, and feel worse than I did to begin with. It's possible. Pros, well, I might become exactly who I need to be. So looking at this, it essentially comes down to conserving the old or making the new. Maintaining or capturing the upside. But it doesn't quite delineate my problem. Okay, so different angle, list 2. Finding the courage to do something new. If I fail, is it reversible? Yes. I can fail. And if I do, I'll simply go back to doing that which I had been doing. Alright, finding the courage to go somewhere new. If I don't like the destination, is it reversible? Yes. I can change my flights, grab a train, turn the car around. I decide where I go. Finding the courage to change myself. If I don't like the trajectory, is it reversible? Yes. If I don't like how I'm evolving, I can stop. I can start back at the beginning. Who you are is in your control, okay? So after 2 lists, the pros have immense upside and the cons, well, they have relatively minor downside and they are reversible. Meaning if I try something I've always wanted to try, go somewhere I've always wanted to go, become the person I've always wanted to be, things could fall apart. But the damage is more annoying than it is life-altering. It's not forever, it's fixable. On the other side, if I hit that home run, my life changes. My world evolves. What's possible expands. And it's not that I will, it's that I could. And doesn't everything start with could? A seed of possibility? An idea that plants roots and when merged with courage and action takes shape? Of course. But most importantly, this information in front of me tells me something pretty incredible. A story with few words and infinite meaning. The key that unlocks some of the most important doors to be opened. And it's this. Most of our inaction, most of our regret, most of our almost come from cowering amidst possible outcomes that are reversible. Running from potential consequences that we could wipe clean like a dry erase board and try again. The downside, it pales in comparison to the upside. We're running from a slap on the wrist or the momentary anxiety associated with turning down the wrong street, right? That's the takeaway here. That's where the magic lies, not in the possibility that everything could work out, but the realization that if it doesn't, life moves right along. That contrary to the narrative so often making its home in the back of our minds, life has redos. You can screw up. You can reverse track and start again. The only action you can't fix is the one you never take. And well, I'm looking at this list and I just don't see any upside in that. Why is it that the average person seeks out the advice of what feels like 1 million people before consulting himself? Knocking, looking, hoping. Is he looking for answers? Or looking for permission to be who he already knows he is? Is he looking for insight or just validation that his reflection is in fact okay? See, I think we all deep down know who we are, know what drives us. And even if we don't know exactly what the destination looks like, our hearts know the direction best suited to begin the pursuit. So how is it so easy to forget? Why do we get our antennas crossed? See, when life becomes about meeting requirements and fulfilling obligations, checking off boxes and checking in on time, we forget the basics. We forget to live for ourselves, as if our job is to play a part, not direct the movie. And playing a part is living up to expectations. Directing the movie, well, that's creating your own expectations. This world, your world, it belongs to you. It's a world with both unimaginable happiness, bliss, moments of ecstasy, and the occasional suffering, chaos that we have to navigate through. But I think all of it comes down to whether you trust yourself to live it for yourself. To remove the shackles, take the training wheels off, stop asking permission, and do what you've always known was the right thing. That part never changed. It just had to wait amidst all your looking for external direction, for you to pause and find the internal courage. Freedom is not a life without chaos. It's trusting yourself to determine which dragons you will slay. It's not a life without battles, but fighting those battles that result in your liberation, dismissing the oppressors that build fences in your mind and chains around your soul. I've thought a lot about the idea of a life well lived, what it means, how it feels, and it seems to me it's about intentionality. Where are you going? It's not that you can escape suffering or eliminate fear. It's not that you'll avoid getting lost along the way, but it's the why. Why we endure these things makes all the difference. Is it for a better tomorrow or simply to get through today? And it's amazing, accidentally stumbling upon that which scares you and intentionally facing that which scares you are so different that their occurrences trigger completely different neural networks in the brain. See, overcoming fear is ingrained in us. We want to grow. We want to evolve. We need more. The question is whether you will step out of the line that someone else made for you and live a life that is your own. And if it's crazy, great. Let it be crazy. If it's unique, perfect. Stand out. And if it scares you, my God, if it scares you, don't turn back. Don't you dare turn back. Give yourself the most important permission one can give, the permission to follow your intuition and your curiosity into tomorrow. Let the stakes be higher, but the rewards be meaningful. Let the chaos be your own to tame and to master. Every twist, every turn becomes not only a part of you, but a chapter in the story of your becoming. And as the seed you've held in your hand for so long finally meets the earth and grows so high that it connects you to the heavens, remember that this is your life. It's your obligation to live it fully. So this morning I was listening to one of my favorite artists. Her name's Rory, and she had this little segment of a song she floated out there. And over coffee, I could not stop listening to it. And in this song, she talks about giving up the ghost inside. Right? That voice in your head that says, you're not a good songwriter. Right? Or it talks about the age tightrope, where you're too old and you've missed your chance. Or you're too young, so you're not ready yet. You're an imposter in your own body. It's everything. Everything you fear kind of rolled up into one entity. The ghost, as she put it. Not unlike Carl Jung's idea of the shadow. It's everything we don't want to be, but fear we are. There's a saying I came across. It said, in every story there's a hero and a villain, and in your story you are both. Which is interesting. And you have contained within you everything that will equate to your growth and your success and your happiness. You are your own knight in shining armor. But also, within you exists the very fear and the doubt that could cripple that evolution. It could take down all those things that make you beautiful, or at least be detrimental to their evolution. And why I love this particular message, why it felt so beautiful and real, was because it felt to me not a denial that our adversary exists within us, but that it feeds off of the energy that we give it and that we can minimize its control. We can be stronger than those thoughts that attempt to weigh us down, those ideas that try and lessen our self-worth. In the book The Tools by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels, they talk about this, the understanding that fear of being what we don't want to, the ghosts and shadows, it's not just you, but in every single one of us. And that repressing it or pretending it doesn't exist, ignoring it, just allows it to survive underground. It allows it to continuously slip through into every thought, every decision, and every action. But they ask the question, what if we call it out? What if we change the narrative from trying to capture the approval of the audience and instead focus on winning the approval of ourselves? Taking those fears and insecurities, and instead of running from them, staring at them, accepting that they will always be there because we're human. They don't control us, we control them. And according to Stutz and Michaels, that's what inner authority is about. Oh, hey, here are my insecurities right there. I see them. I understand what they are. But guess what? They don't get to drive this ship. Sorry. Every athlete comes face to face with the idea that they might not be good enough. Every creative or entertainer sometime along the way worries they don't have what it takes, right? Students worry about not being smart enough or tough enough. I mean, like I said, one of my favorite artists was literally capturing her experience with doubts about being a good artist, right? We all have that. We all have the shadow or the ghost or the voice in your head that comes to light every once in a while and suggests that you might not be who you want to be. And so the point is, don't think you're alone in those emerging thoughts, and most importantly, understand that they don't have control over you. They exist, and they always will. As long as we're human, they'll emerge. So don't be ashamed or repress them or hide them. Most importantly, don't doubt yourself. Smile and understand them. You have so much to give to the world. A world that, by the way, is challenging. It will push back, present hardships. Progress is tough, and before you can cope with the external, you have to understand the internal. You have to accept the shadow and reacquire control from that lowly ghost inside. Realize they're not deciders of fate. They're spectators, watching your journey, not mapping it. And when we get that, once we are free of those constraints, we are free to be ourselves and enjoy the ride.